welcome back to the channel. Our final preview for the Premier League this season. I can't believe it's here already. It's fully on. Honestly, I can't believe it. But we're here tonight to look ahead to the final day. I'm not sure how much is on the line. Maybe Stefan can tell me how much is on the line and above. But even I think Stefan might be struggling to tell you that Arsenal could still win this league. But who knows? Final days can often bring drama. And we've seen plenty of that. And the two boys on the right side of the screen can tell you that it's never over. But Man City tend to find a way. Boys, we're going to be looking ahead to the title race, the race for Europe, and also focusing on Jurgen Klopp's final game at Liverpool. Before we look ahead to the final day, let's just reflect on Tuesday night, because it was the elephant in the room. Could Man City go to Spurs and win? And they did. I mean, incredible, because it was a very tight game for a long way. Maybe I'm biased, but I thought Spurs might edge the first half, Callum. But Man City found a way to win. And Haaland, he didn't do much in the game, but he had two big moments with 2 goals. And Man City do what they tend to do in these runs. They won.
100%. I mean, we've been talking about it all year about no Nunes and his kind of goodness, and then that's just the difference with Haaland. He might not, he might be quiet in the game if you give him a chance. It's lights out, and that's what you need to win a title. So Man City do what they do again.
Yep. Stefan, me and you had a lot to talk about, in the lead up to the game. A lot of people questioning maybe Spurs' integrity towards the game. Obviously, the fans said we'll come on to the fans in a bit, but how much Spurs would go for it, because the players might be helping out Arsenal. But Ange said that the players would turn up, and to be fair, I know you've been critical of Spurs this year, but I mean, I think it was probably one of their better performances, and Spurs definitely blocked out the noise and they put on a decent display. And for a long way in that game, if you check social media at half-time, Arsenal fans, they were excited that something could happen in that second half.
No, that's true. I mean, you did put in probably your best performance in a very long time, I would say. But the problem was that I just felt that, in my opinion, that's just my opinion, I just felt that Son really didn't want to play, and it looked like he was not. Let's say he was not motivated to really do well. So that was the disappointing part. Was I expecting Spurs to get a result against us against Man City? No. Man City are a much better team. I was expecting them to win, but I was just surprised at the amount of chances Spurs created. You guys created by stats wise four big chances, and Ortega at the end of the game was the man of the match, in my opinion. So it's just Man City. It's they're an amazing team, and they exploited. But I was really shocked at Ange and how he reacted. But
Stefan, we'll come on to that, all right? That's a big topic. Let's bring Kieran on. Kieran, I mean, you've experienced some great moments as a Liverpool fan, some bad moments. Some moments that stand out in the back of your head. The Demba, the Gerrard slip. Well, Son's must be one of them ones for Arsenal. Because Son, we've seen him in that position so many times in years gone by, and he tends to score, and he's got this great record against Man City as well.
Like you look at it, like nine times out of 10, he puts it in the back of net. It's just that, and I thought he should have went the other way with it. He kind of went, we should have put it on the near post rather than go for the far side. I thought that was just my opinion on it. What he misses that was that for me. I thought Spurs were really, really good in the first half. I did hold out some hope. I genuinely want Arsenal to win the league rather than Man City. I like to see that broke. Just they break it up and make the league more interesting. It doesn't really get interesting after Christmas because you're going to be Man City. They're going to go on a run for 16, 17 games, whatever it may be, and the rest are just chasing after them. There's still a glimmer of hope for Sunday. I wouldn't just give up all hope yet. West Ham 11 men behind the ball. You just never know.
David Moyes.
Never over. It's over. Callum, I mean, a lot of talk about Man City's achievements over the last number of years. The treble last year obviously comes to mind, the 100 points they got. You think about Ferguson teams, you think about Arsenal's invincible season, the Mourinho teams. I think 1 year they only conceded 15 goals. Where does 4 Premier League titles in a row, if they won on Sunday, rank in all those? Because it's never been done before. Like Arsenal never, the invincible season hadn't been done before. Is this up there with that?
100%, 4 in a row. So I think it's because it's just happened now in the present moment. It might not get as much credit as it probably should as well. Because usually over time it kind of ages a bit better. But 100%, I'm trying to think on top of my head. It's easy, top 3 anyway. Could be the best ever. I mean, as well, because every season, the past 4 seasons, they've been pushed near to the final day. I mean, they haven't had it easy. It's not a walk in the park for them. So they go to the final day a couple of seasons or 4 seasons in a row now, and won again. Not 100% up there. Like crazy.
Yeah, bar the COVID season, every other season it's been tight. You think about Liverpool 3 seasons ago, went to the final day. Villa were 2-0, and maybe hope for Stefan. The Villa were 2-0 up on that day. I know Man City come back, but you might see something like that happen on Sunday. Obviously, Arsenal ran them to the 35th, 36th game last year and were in front for a long way. And obviously, this season's going to the final day again. So they haven't had it easy. They won these titles. I mean, Stefan, me and you had obviously rivalry comes on there, but the rivalry was a wee bit different this week before the game. A lot of Arsenal fans were hoping Spurs would do them a favour. We'll come on to talk about the Spurs fans who, in my opinion, went overboard. But do you think some of the Arsenal fans went overboard at times? Going to the match, chanting and cheering. No, I understand they wanted and they won, but do you think they got lost in the rivalry a wee bit, and actively supporting Spurs?
No, I was I was hoping that Spurs could do something. I wasn't expecting a result, but I would say the biggest difference, and we're gonna go on to discuss it, but I'll give you an example. So I know a lot of Man United fans, and barring the Londoner Man United fans, most of them really wanted Arsenal to win the league this year because of the fact that they're, apart from their treble, which they're super proud, of course, is their proudest achievement. Their other massive achievement that they love is the fact that they've won the league 3 times in a row, and they don't want City to end that in terms of to actually to better. But when Arsenal played Man United, we won 1-0, and the Man United fans, they could have started singing about Man City. They could have kind of said, "Yeah, we don't." I just felt that the way the Spurs fans handled it compared to Arsenal fans. With Arsenal fans, if the shoe was on the other foot, probably had been hoping that Man City beat them in order to stop Spurs from winning. Probably yes, me too. But would I, whilst 2-0 down, start doing the Poznan and singing about Arsenal? No. And I think that's kind of the difference between an Arsenal and Man United and a Spurs at the moment. That's just my opinion.
Obviously, we don't know because Spurs have never been in that position before, and any time they were on a title race, Arsenal weren't playing one of their rivals then.
No,
so
they have actually. They have the Chelsea Spurs game, the Battle of the Bridge. I remember that game where Chelsea
fans were supporting Leicester.
No, yeah, the actual Chelsea fans were happy in terms of that, but they weren't they weren't celebrating in the same way. Like I saw some I'm not gonna name some podcast saying like we stopped Arsenal's title, and no, you didn't. You had the chance to stop our title, but you lost at your stadium after having 2 weeks to prepare for that game. So for me, I just thought it was a bit how can I call it, bush league. It was a bit small club kind of. Yeah, we're gonna
it divided the whole fan base, Stefan. As you say, there was some Spurs fans in the stadium. You should say during the Poznan, there was some actually wearing light blue Spurs tops that resembled Man City tops, cheering when Man City scored. They were ejected from the stadium. We seen Ange falling out with a fan who was telling them they put on with your players, they throw the game. So there was a lot, but then there was a few fights in the ground too of Spurs fans that were wanting they won the game. So it was quite divided. Kieran, I mean, one person that was true to his word the whole way through was the Spurs manager. He really couldn't understand any other outcome than we're going for the Champions League. And I actually think if Spurs had been another Champions League, he still would have went about it the same way. He was very much, you have to focus on yourself and worry about everything and let everything else go. I mean, but we seen him getting agitated during the game with a fan behind his dugout. He kind of went very bullish in the media afterwards when he says that, there's certain foundations outside and inside the club that are weak. And he can't understand anybody else supporting against their own team. So, I mean, what was your thoughts on it?
I thought it was absolutely embarrassing. I really, really did, and I still feel it today. To be cheering for your own team to be beat 2-0 at home. It's he's come from a club in Scotland where if you lose one point,
He's froze, is he? Callum, I mean, let's get your opinion on it. We'll come back to him when he gets out of that mud there he's on. What was your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I think it was a bit over the top, but I still think, like, if I was in that position, I'd still want Man City to win on Tuesday night. I'm not.
I mean, Jamie Carragher.
As a Spurs fan,
yeah, I just want to ask
you. Stefan's hit the nail on the head. It's small club mentality. It's like for anybody to come.
Scary, Max, now.
Get into the Champions League. You genuinely did. If you had to beat Man City, you would. Villa would have been beat by Palace on Sunday. Palace, the most informed team in the league. I can't believe that he didn't try it. I'm bewildered by it. Like,
we're bewildered by you as well.
Gareth, can I just ask Callum? Can I just ask Callum one thing, because he's a Liverpool fan? So Everton are with Man City. They're challenging. You're telling me, Callum, that Liverpool are playing Man City at Anfield, and at 2-0 down, because Man City win, you're going to see Liverpool fans start singing about Everton and doing the Poznan, celebrating whilst their team are 2-0 down? No, I'm sorry, Callum.
I think that was over the top, but I think that the president of I still would have. If I'm in that position and everyone's going for the title, I don't want everyone to win the title.
It divided a lot of pundits because, you Carragher and Neville both on Sky. Neville said Spurs, I can't believe what they're doing here, the fans. And then Carragher, I can understand. I mean, was there, let's play it out, right? Let's say Spurs get the ultimate prize. They got fourth and Arsenal won the league. Arsenal fans would have taunted Spurs fans for years about that, wouldn't they? I mean, as Carragher says, I think it was the fact that it was their first title they were going for in 20. They would have won it within their first 20 years. It wouldn't be different if it was Man City. They won it every year. So, I mean, there was that all part. And then there was also the most embarrassing part of it all was if Villa had to beat Palace or got a draw, then Spurs would have been left sitting and they've done Arsenal a favour and they've lost out. But maybe, as Meat says, you can't think about that. But the other thing as well that a lot of Spurs fans thought was in 20 years' time, no one's going to remember Spurs finishing fourth, but they will remember Arsenal won in the league. So everybody's the right to opinion. I want the Spurs, they won the game. But I do see why some fans feared it. But I think doing the pause now and celebrating goals was completely ridiculous.
So Gareth, so you would support your team to lose just because you wouldn't be able to take a bit of banter at school?
No, I actually said before the game I wanted.
No, not you. I'm talking about the Spurs fans in general, because you can't handle the fact that Arsenal are challenging for the league. So you want some fake plastic club in the last 10, 15 years that has 115 financial charges that, in a way, you can argue that they also stopped you at times when you were, with Harry Kane and all of these players that they possibly stopped you from winning maybe a cup or a league. You want like, for me, when you guys got to the Champions League final and we were in the Europa League final, was I for Liverpool? Yeah, I was. But
different situation, but they were two different finals. None was only direct the other one. That's a different situation. I never really got Spurs fans saying that they would have lost one, they won the hour. But realistically, none of them. This was directly affecting the outcome of this league. I mean, final thoughts on it. I think it's very. I mean, I'm on a Spurs chat podcast, and it was very 50-50, I have to say. So I think a lot of the fans were, in a very uncomfortable position. It's hard to say who's right, who's wrong.
Where do you see Ange going from here, Gareth? Where do you see Ange going from here? Because he looked to be absolutely disgusted, and genuinely, I think it's something that would put a manager off wanting to be at a club.
Well, that's it. But he did say after that he knows what he has to do, and he's going to fix it. So that tells me that
he's like what the club needs to understand is, even though he doesn't come from, let's say, he hasn't had the highest pedigree in terms of the leagues he's been, he's Australian. They're all, if you look at all their sports teams, they're all winners. They will do anything to win.
He's also, albeit at a lower level, Stefan, he is used to winning as well, albeit
he is used to it. But I know, like, Australian sport, they're all about winning. Like, whatever it is, rugby, cricket, they're all about winning. And I think because he was raised in that, and when he sees people saying, listen, he pretty much called out the whole fan base after the game. I was shocked.
Stefan, do you think as well, though, he will, in his head, understand why certain Spurs fans wanted Arsenal not to win the league, but he's saying it a different way, like a siege mentality, because he has said a few times, I have to change the mentality of this club. So maybe he's saying one thing to the media, but on his own head, privately, he says, I can sort of understand why Arsenal, the Arsenal thing, because he's not stupid. He knows that Spurs and Arsenal don't like each other.
Callum, go answer.
Oh, well, I was just going to ask you. I was like, come on, surely he thinks, Ange thinking that there's the rivalry there, as Gav said, because that's, I mean, I'd be naive.
I think his message to the fans is, forget about them. You need to worry about what's happening here.
He can't, though, of Arsenal are on the very good height.
Callum, I kind of, look, do I think he's flip-flopped, Ange? Because 4 or 5 months ago, if you remember, people were saying, can he win the league? And he was like, let fans dream. Now he goes through a really bad spell of games, and he's talking about how he needs new transfers, how he needs change. So he has flip-flopped a little bit. But in terms of why are you like so concerned about a team that, let's be honest, Arsenal I think are 23, 24 points ahead of Spurs. Like if Spurs want to progress, they shouldn't care about Arsenal yet. They should care about Arsenal because honestly, if I'm going to sound cocky or arrogant, we're going to be back here next year. Arsenal are primed to challenge next year.
We're going to come on to speak more about Arsenal, Stefan. The final question on this, I mean, there's been we've seen Spurs at Liverpool, Newcastle, thought they did okay against Arsenal, but the Chelsea game in particular, and people were thinking maybe they stopped playing for Ange. The Tuesday night show, the stadium was flat completely at 1-0. Even at 0-0 and at 1-0, it was dead. It was just so quiet. It was strange. I think the commentator said they'd never been in an atmosphere like that. Quite that there was so many fans in the stadium were undecided whether they wanted to win or lose. But Spurs played through all that, played against the Man City team that were in fine form, and for large spells put them on the back foot. I mean, does that show you that the players are, there's your answer. They are backing him and they are playing for him. I
mean, I think you're asking him, but I'll take it. I'm not quite sure because Ange had to go with the fans too. On Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, whenever it was. You didn't lose top four on Tuesday night. You lost your 4 games before that as well. Do you know what I mean? Top four wasn't.
I don't think it's about top four for Ange. I think it's about the mentality more than anything. I don't think he's that bored.
That's the mentality of the players the last 4 games, not the Man City one.
Exactly. This I agree with. This I agree with Callum. This was a bit
last 4 games. Forget about Man City match.
Yeah, like where was this fire and passion on the sidelines against Chelsea, against Arsenal when you went 3-0 down and you had 2 weeks to prepare for Arsenal and everybody knew they were going to exploit you on set pieces, and they did. Where was this passion where
he was like he changed the system of it on Tuesday night? I thought that helped him.
Yeah, he changed for the game. It was hilarious. He changed the system for the game that half of the Spurs fan base, or maybe more, wanted you guys to lose. He actually adapted in the correct way against Man City. The first time he's done that prior to all the actual games that he's lost, because a lot of people criticized him for his lack of flexibility. So for me, it's, is he annoyed? Yeah, I think he's more annoyed. I'll tell you what. I think he's shocked that there came a point where I actually read a report that supposedly some of his staff were also kind of joking around whilst you guys were training in the days prior to the game, that maybe you should play the actual youth team. Like, because a lot of them
didn't mention that, didn't he? Because I'll bring Kieran back on here because I know he's been out pretty well, but he did mention that in the press conference that it wasn't outside, it was inside the club, that he was shocked at some of the stuff he was hearing.
But just to go back on the point, I think he was relying to come and update the Premier League getting the 5 places for the Champions League. I think that might have been in his head too, where if he finished 5th, he's going to get on the Premier League, and then in the last few weeks, that's obviously gone out the window. But getting back to what you were saying there, but this is flagged up before. Conte says it, Mourinho said it. No, past managers have all said the same thing from inside the club, that there's problems, but these are the things that nobody knows about. And he's now the 3rd manager in a row to come out and say the exact same thing. So something really, really is wrong inside that club, which we obviously don't get to hear about it. So there's obviously a lot of frustration, obviously on his day-to-day, training and stuff like that. There's obviously stuff going on inside the club where there's no cameras, and it's all coming out then when the pressure's on the pitch, and then he's got fans, turning against his team. Basically, that's how he sees it. I know they're not, they want Arsenal not they won, but there's a lot of things going on that, managers after managers, they're all coming out saying the same thing. So look, who do you send them to sort out what? And like it's probably a Daniel Levy thing when you come down to think of it. Like he's been there through them all. But I don't know. It's we have our own problems.
I disagree. No,
Stefan, because I know.
Final thing about that. I disagree, because for all the stuff that he gets about his lack of ambition, which I do agree for most about Daniel Levy. Come on, guys. Daniel Levy, with a little chance of getting Champions League football, he would have been super, super motivated to tell the team, we need to get Champions League football. You need to beat Man City. Because Daniel Levy is all about Champions League football. And I think Daniel Levy would have wanted him to win. So this, does it stem from the top? Yes, in terms of the whole culture, yeah. But for the Man City game, I think Daniel Levy would have been desperate for Spurs to win, so they can have a chance.
He would have done the team talk himself if he could, because we know what he's like. He's a money man. But it's going to be an interesting summer at Spurs. I think very much, as you say, squad wise and coaching wise, because he's already hinted that there could be changes in the backroom staff. So we'll see. Let's talk about Spurs' North London rivals, Arsenal, of course, still in the title race. But a lot of Arsenal fans, I'm not sure, I can't speak for Stefan yet, but a lot of them have conceded the title. Callum, let's come to you before we come back to Stefan. A lot of the Spurs fans, United fans, even I've seen some Liverpool fans were enjoying the fact that, it could be another trophyless season for Arsenal. Arteta's done a great job there. No one would dispute that. But since he won that FA Cup and that season he come on, no trophy since. And it's looking unlikely that they're going to win anything this season, barring a Man City slip up on Sunday. So, I mean, is he in danger of being tarred with that brush? We've seen other managers over the last 20, 30 years be tarred with it. He's a great manager, but can he get this Arsenal team over the line?
I think he's fallen. Well, I know Klopp has ended up winning other big trophies as well. They kind of fall back on, but he's fallen on that kind of same era with Man City. It's so hard. Like, I mean, Stefan can correct me. I think they've won 15 of the 17 since 2024 in the league. I mean, that is just—it's
a ridiculous.
I mean, that is just as good as it gets. And that the other one was a draw with a Man City. So I mean, he's a top manager. He's done great things with a team, and they're probably going to be up there next year again. Barring I don't know what happens, but maybe if they don't win on Sunday, I think maybe their players, their mentality could be shattered, because you've seen when Liverpool got the 97 points, we won a Champions League that year, and then we went on, they won the league the next year, so you can something they fall back on. At the time, both managers needed to win that final as well, but it's hard when you spend all the big money as well. He's going to have pressure now next season again if they don't win on Sunday. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, I bet the Mountain a big trophy next season because, I mean, the team's good enough to do it.
Stefan, I'll bring you on, but I mean, I think maybe this won't be targeted on this year, but if they were to go next year and finish, say, second again and don't win anything, then it would really come under fire. So I mean, how important do you think it is if we all expect Man City to lift that league on Sunday, that next season he has to win something off some? It's not just getting a trophy, but it protects him in a way that he shows he can get them a trophy.
No, I completely agree. I think he's, the way he's kind of transformed the club from where it was when he first arrived to now is I think is one of the most underrated manager jobs currently, including from my own fan base. I mean, if you watch some of the famous YouTubers and people from my fan base, it's actually just embarrassing. I'm embarrassed to call them fellow Arsenal. They, saying that if Arsenal don't win the league this year, that Arteta should get sacked, even though we have the record number of wins in the Premier League, more wins than the Invincible season. We have the record number of goals scored this season. Just in terms of Arteta has improved the team every single season. So just to go back to what Callum pointed out, to the record of 15 wins in 17 games since 2024, this is a better league record than Bayer Leverkusen in terms of points accumulated, who won the German league by like 20 points. This is a better record than Inter, who won the Italian league by like 15 points. So, people need to realize, and the same leeway that they gave Klopp, I don't understand why they don't give that same leeway to Arteta, because, Man City, I've always said that the difference between the actual two teams is very, I would say it's small, but Man City have the edge because of two main reasons. Pep is one. He's just, a different class of manager. And the second is the fact that Arsenal's best players are not as good as Man City's best players. I think those are the two differences. But to finish my point on a positive note, the good thing is that this Arsenal team is really good right now. And I think you can easily see areas where Arsenal can improve in terms of in the transfer market. And if Arsenal do, make the correct decisions like they have over the last two seasons, in my opinion, if they sign a number 9, a really good number 9, I think that increases that points tally of potentially 89 points from, let's say, to add another 5 or 6 points. So for me, I honestly think the way Arsenal are going and evolving every year, I think it's just a matter of time until they win something. That's just, maybe it's, call it, Arsenal bias or whatever.
Oh, well, I think it certainly looks that way. Kieran, what about you? I mean, you're always a big advocate of the FA Cup. Do you think Arteta takes them cups serious enough? They tend to go out very early on. I know they've had some tough draws at times, but he tends to rotate his team quite heavily for them games, and he focuses kind of on. I know it was his first year back in the Champions League, but if you think back to Europa Leagues, FA Cups, League Cups, he's tended to rotate his team quite heavily and focus on the league. I think Klopp done that a lot over his time at Liverpool, and then he finally realised that you can end up with nothing if you go all out for Man City. You think that's something Arteta has to do next year? If they still get a difficult, if they play Liverpool in round 3 again, play your full strength team.
I believe so. I think I agree with Stefan. I think Arteta's doing a fantastic job. He can't be faulted. I've been there twice as a Liverpool fan, going up against Man City and getting bit in the last day. It's ridiculous. You just cannot afford to draw a game even after Christmas. It's like Arsenal's record's shocking. What Arteta's done has been nothing short of a miracle, really, from where the club was. They've a clear identity of how they want to play. They play attractive, free-flowing football. It's easy in the eye. The fans love it. They're solid defensively, midfield, stacked with talent. They are it's great. It's just Man City won the league every year, something that I don't want to see. You know what I mean? So I was rooting for Arsenal this year after we were out of it. But I do think it's not even that he need. I don't think that for him to keep him on a job, he needs a trophy. I think it's just for the players' confidence. They went out and won a trophy. An FA Cup, whatever, that just boosts their confidence. They're in the same competition as Man City, Liverpool, all the big hitters, and they've went and beat them all to go and won this trophy. I just think it does wonders for your self-confidence. You know what I mean? And even for a manager, like, getting his message across and, providing the players with a trophy because they're buying into what he's doing. I just think it works as a whole for a club. And Klopp, I think they started doing that. Man City do it all the time. They've got 2 squads, so I suppose, but they might win the league for a 4th time in a row. But go and look at what they have. They've won numerous trophies every season for the last, I don't know how long. So it can be done where you can fight in all fronts. But it'd be nice for him to get a trophy, but I think it would matter more to the players just for a bit more self-confidence. They know what they can actually go ahead with.
Yeah, Callum, we'll come on to Liverpool very shortly. Finish with Stefan here. I mean, I think Meats nailed it there. I mean, I don't think he's got any pressure within the club on him from his superiors. No. I think it's more the noise outside from certain, as you say, certain parts of the Arsenal fan base who just have an agenda clearly. Nice. And also for the players, because there's only so many times he had that second, or lose a final. I know they haven't lost a final, but, if they get into them areas and don't want it, it becomes psychological. So that's probably the 2 biggest things he has to get over. Not so much the pressure within the club, because I think his job is as safe as anybody's in world football.
No, thankfully we have, an ownership that follows a very successful model, whether it's in the NBA, the NFL, and now with Arsenal, where they fully trust a young coach and continually invest in him, continue to show him faith. So for me, I don't think there's any doubt within the actual ownership of Arsenal, within, with Edu, the sporting director. It's embarrassing, guys. I'm really embarrassed sometimes. Like, I watch those same that you named, the YouTubers, that they hounded out Emery when Arsenal sacked him. And now suddenly, because he does well at Villa, now they have this revisionist kind of mindset and thinking about how great Emery is again. All you need to do is go find their clips and, and that's what annoys me. The thing that I struggle with is, why? Do you not remember, like, Arsenal in the Wenger latter years, in the decline, and in Emery going to Chelsea losing 6-0?
The only thing I can think of, Stefan, right, is because the two have very different experiences at Arsenal. Arteta's, the Emery's has been light years difference. The only thing I can think of is that Arteta's been heavily backed. Emery didn't really get that back, and that's the only thing I can think.
How did he not get that backing? Emery got 160 million in one summer. They signed Pepe for 80 million. They signed
what he says wasn't his player.
Arteta, of course he's gonna say that. The same way Brendan Rodgers came up with excuses at Liverpool when he signed, what was his name? The guy from Aston Villa.
Benteke.
Benteke, yeah. It's okay, but did you approve of the signing? You could have blocked the actual signing.
Apparently he wanted Zaha, and you couldn't afford him. So
I want Kylian Mbappe to come to Arsenal. Okay, great. Yeah, Zaha, I remember that year, Gareth. Zaha was on a long-term contract, and Palace wanted around 90 million in a one-off payment, almost immediate.
And Lowell, I mean, was it not worrying though when Lowell says we'll accept 10 million a season for Pepe? I mean, he must have knew.
It was worrying, but it did show ambition from the club that they signed Pepe for such a massive fee whilst in the Europa League. So the Kroenkes were willing to back spending. I just think that, for me, just from a more general perspective, like, I remember the last decade before Arsenal came to, in terms of Arsenal are what are now, and I just remember how weak mentally we were, how naive, kind of like with Spurs with ANGE, where we were always expected to go away to like a Stoke and get bullied, for them to score on set pieces. Now, what Arteta has built in terms of the team is so tactically astute. It's so much mentally stronger, And you have fans that, yes, I know we need to win a trophy. I agree with Kieran and with Callum in order to solidify his legacy. But, like, why would you sack him now? All of our best players are under the age of 25. They've all improved. He's taken almost every single player on that Arsenal team. He bought Odegaard for 30 million. How much is he worth now? How much is Gabriel, who he bought for 25?
Maybe it's just for clicks, but we're gonna focus on Liverpool now for a bit, lads. He talks about Arteta needing trophies for legacy. One man that definitely has a legacy at Liverpool, and in the Premier League, and we'll debate how much, obviously, what kind of legacy he's got in Premier League terms, but definitely at Liverpool, he's loved, adored. And Callum, you'll be there on Sunday for Klopp's final game at Anfield. I mean, you can only speak for yourself, but how emotional do you think you'll be yourself? And we know Liverpool as a club, as a city, are quite, the city, the footballs. It's a bit like Newcastle. The football runs the city. And Klopp's seen as not just a Liverpool manager, but almost like a father figure in Liverpool. So we've seen images this week at Klopp's and the Kop, just taking it all on. And I think on Sunday, I know there's a game to be played, and I know Liverpool only won, but it's much more about beating Wolves, isn't it?
100%. It'll be emotional on Sunday. I'll be emotional. Everyone in the stadium will be emotional. Everyone watching at home will be emotional. He's a once-in-a-lifetime manager. I think we'll never see the likes of him again. The personality, even, I don't know, he's been kind of Marmite outside of Liverpool. Some fans hate him, some fans don't like him. Or some fans like him, some fans don't. But his personality, as you said in the interview, you can't buy that. He's just special manager, special person. I mean, maybe he could have won more trophies, of course. You can debate that all day long, but for what he's done for Liverpool, from where he took it over in 2015, he was just unbelievable. He's left the club at a perfect position for the new manager, if that's Slot, whoever it is. I mean, you could chat all day about him. I absolutely love him, and it'll be sad on Sunday.
Yeah. Kieran, would you echo what Callum said there?
Definitely. There's no doubt about it. I've probably too young for the managers of past, but my lifetime, without a doubt, the best from where he's taken us. I've been there for the Hillier who won trophies and stuff like that, and Rafa, but this man's come on and he's turned the club on its head, literally. Even that's just, you could relate it back to Arsenal, from where they've come to where they are now. There was a plan in place. He asked for time in his first interview. He said, listen, I will win trophies here. You just need to give me time. You'd be patient. There's doubters and the believers. And that's exactly what we are today. Coming on saying we're actually believing it. We're going to win a league every year. That we can do it. And that's there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way you should feel with your football club, that you can be successful. But we haven't for a long time. Man United won on everything. And it was, that's just how it was growing up. But now it's extremely sad. I'm a bit apprehensive. I'm a bit skeptical of what's going to happen next. This could be, where could this go? Any Liverpool fan would be foolish to think that things are just going to keep going the way they are. There's going to be big changes, and hopefully it's all for the right reasons. And look, everybody's going to wish them the best. He goes with everybody's best wishes, and he's a legend forever. And I'll be surprised if there's not a statue in the coming years outside the Kop for him.
Yeah. Stefan, your thoughts on Jurgen Klopp's time at Liverpool? I mean, you're a neutral fan. I'm a neutral fan. I mean, Klopp, love him or hate him, he's gonna be a big loss for the Premier League.
No, for sure. In terms of just as a coach, as his charisma, his just everything about Klopp, he was, he did exactly the same job that Arteta has done, but he has actually won stuff. So he's kind of solidified his legacy fully as a Liverpool great. But what Klopp did in terms of from where Liverpool were, when you had like players like Joe Allen, Benteke, Jesus, that was bad. So he's
how do you think we felt?
Yeah. So like how I felt when I was watching Mustafi and stuff and players like that. So what Klopp has done. What Klopp has done, the reason why he's a generational coach is because he's transformational. He literally came into Liverpool and completely changed and transformed everything into a winning culture. That is, for me, the most difficult thing to do, especially at a former, in a way, great club like Liverpool and Arsenal are. It's easier to do it at a club that maybe has not had it, and then you don't have as much pressure. But what Klopp did and the way he actually handled himself, was he a bit of a dickhead at times? Yeah, just like every coach has been, because he's a winner. He's so for me it's going to be a big loss. And you just coaches like that, like the Klopps, the Fergusons, the Pep Guardiolas, the Wengers, you cannot replace this coach. And I think Liverpool in the next few years are going to really, really miss Klopp.
Well, come on to talk about that. Just on Klopp, you named them there, Stefan. I've picked out the 5 best managers I think in Premier League history. So this goes back just the Premier League era. Klopp, Pep, Ferguson, Wenger, Mourinho, no particular order. I want all of these to rank them 1 to 5 in your opinion.
Pochettino?
You might make 60 10. These 5 in particular are all very different in every kind of way, similar in ways, but different. All different styles of play, different personalities, but all generational in different ways. They won it their way, and when they were here, they did it. Something we've never seen before. So, Stefan, let's start with you. Instead of maybe where Klopp ranks, but maybe just give me your 1 to 5, and you don't really have to elaborate on why.
Number one, number one has to be Ferguson because of just the amount of titles he's won and just the longevity. For me, I'm a bit more old school. I think the fact that he was there at Man United and he sustained, he won 13 leagues, and I get it. Pep Guardiola, maybe if you average the amount of league titles over his stay, is probably better, but in my opinion, it's harder to maintain that over the span that Ferguson did. I will put Pep a very very close second. After those two, I would put Wenger. After Wenger, and I would put Wenger over Mourinho because Wenger has more league titles than Mourinho. Wasn't financially doped like Mourinho was at Chelsea. And then the final aspect is Wenger also has 7 FA Cups. So that's, for me, that's also big. And then 4th, Mourinho, and I would put Klopp at 5th. That would be my
Callum, your 1 to 5.
Oh, it's so tight. I'll agree with his first 2, Ferguson and Pep. After that,
there probably is no debate. There probably is them 2, 1 and 2.
Probably them 2 is definitely top 2, 100%. I would like to. I think I'm a little more old school as well. So with the financial doping, I'm going to put Mourinho last, just because I'm going to put Mourinho last, and then I'll be biased. I'll put Klopp third and Wenger 4th.
Over Wenger?
I think the level of what he went over the years: 97 points, 92 points, 90.
We'll have a debate. And then we'll have a debate on the ones that you don't agree with.
Well, I'm going Ferguson, Pep, Wenger, Klopp, Jose.
Right. So everyone, well, no, you all have different. Some of you have Wenger 3rd. I think both. No, you two both had Wenger 3rd. Callum had Wenger 4th, and then so it's very similar. I mean, if you look back over the years, there's no doubt Ferguson was there the longest, so he's won the most. But if you look at some of the points tallies, Man City's would have soared past them. I mean, Arsenal finished with 89 points on Sunday. That would have won you a league, and then maybe one of the Ferguson years. So you could say, but is that down to the standard?
No, not in maybe. In 7. 7. Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, and Klopp's had 97, 94 as well. So there's 2 you could throw on for him. The only thing I would say about Wenger, and a great manager, he was a great coach, he probably done himself damage by how long he stayed on and how bad it ended up being. That a legend of the club. Would it be right then, Stefan? Maybe 75, 80, maybe even higher by the end of him out?
He doesn't do
I want to make a counter argument on this because I honestly do believe, and this is a very unpopular take, that although his first 10 years were magnificent, and I think he has the greatest achievement, nobody, going invincible, even Ferguson, they asked Ferguson which achievement is better, the treble or the, winning the league without a defeat. Ferguson easily said, winning the league. Man United fans can talk all they want, but your own coach said it, so, but for me, I would say the period from when the stadium was built for like 6-7 years, I honestly to this day think this is one of the greatest. I know he didn't win anything, but this is one of the greatest managerial jobs that a coach has ever done. Every single season, Arsenal lost their best player. Now imagine if Ferguson or Mourinho or Klopp, imagine every single season you lose Mane, you lose Salah, and he challenged and should have won the league.
It's a great point. It is a great point that you make, but there's also an argument that the top 4 teams were that far ahead of the rest. There was really no Everton maybe one season, Villa had a go, Spurs towards the end, Man City come on, they play then towards the end of Wenger, but realistically, them top 4 teams were the top 4 every single season. So it really didn't have that much, they compete against.
That's true, but you can argue the same about Man City, Gareth. Who's really challenged Man City apart from Liverpool in Pep Guardiola's era, and now Arsenal? Nobody. Who's even been close?
Yeah, but what I would say is the top 4 changes pretty much every season now, whereas it didn't for a long time. It was always Chelsea, United, Liverpool, Arsenal, in whatever order it was.
That's true, but Wenger still had to deal with the fact that there were expectations that he had to win the league, and yet he sold in one season Fabregas, Nasri, and Alex Song, and still challenged for the league tonight. Now imagine those were all key pieces of a team that were title challengers. Imagine now from Liverpool after McAllister had a great season this year. You sell him.
Callum made a good point as well. Does European pedigree come on it? Wenger's only one of the 5 that didn't win a Champions League there.
Yeah, that's true.
Comes on it all day long.
But all great managers in their own way. Callum, I mean, we've talked about it enough. We've seen, you've seen it. Meets pointed earlier on. Liverpool were on City close a number of times. I mean, well, is it only now Arsenal fans will understand this pain that you can be so good and you don't want it? And I mean, it's difficult to stomach because in a lot of our seasons they'd won it. But is that becoming more of a trend now that it really doesn't matter how many points you get anymore? We've seen it now 3 times where a team's going to get 89 points or more and not won it. That you just have to be better than Man City, and is that the new standard?
Of course, they were all shouting Man City saving football back in 2019. Now they're getting the brunt of it on their own. We were unbearable back then. Now they're all raging that they're probably going to lose it on Sunday. So, I mean, they got to test their own medicine a bit. So, I mean, we've done it twice. They've done it once. I mean, last year they kind of fell short. But there's nothing worse than losing it in the final day. So good luck on Sunday if Man City go 2-0 down.
I was the coach, Callum, right? And I know we're very early on, but do you see anyone beating Man City next year again if Pep stays?
I mean, early prediction, I know, with loads to happen. Arsenal definitely go close again next year, 100%. I mean, the only thing I would say is Arsenal, Sky Sports said, was it 8 of their starting 11 have started 20-odd games. Like, their starting 11's been near enough unchanged since August. And you don't get that type of luck 2 seasons in a row. So,
mates, we'll bring Stefan back in a minute, but mates, we've seen Liverpool go close 2 seasons in a row under Klopp, and if you remember, the seasons after they were quite difficult seasons. Is that the danger with Arsenal that Callum pointed out played a lot of football this year? It was their first year back in the Champions League, so they didn't rotate as much as they would have done in the Europa League season. I know they went out of the cups pretty early, but they still played a lot of games, and haven't they won every week and playing? You can name Arsenal's best 11 now because he's played the same team near enough. It's been the front 3, even Trossard's jumped on over Martinelli. I know Partey's come back on, so he hasn't had to change that team too often. Is that the worry that you've seen it before with Liverpool going up against this Man City team? It does take it out of the following season.
I think so because as we alluded to earlier on. Sorry, Stefan. Sorry, who was that? Day?
No, you go.
Go ahead, you're not Stefan. You can point on after.
Yeah.
So, we alluded to it earlier. Like they played the same 11, and for whatever reason they still might fall short. So obviously that plays in your mind then that obviously what we talked about, we're going to have to try harder in other competitions to try and get some silverware. You just can't keep relying on going out of competition. So the team, I believe, will probably, be subject to more injuries and stuff next season. But obviously, there's a job being done there, and players are definitely going to be attracted. When they're sitting down having a meeting with Eddie and Arteta in the summer, they're definitely going to be attracted. They'll be coming to Arsenal, so they are going to be a ball empire with Champions League football and being able to say, well, look how close we can go. No, we just want to push to the next level. But it's not over yet. Well, just chill out, relax yourselves. It's not over yet.
Stefan,
Man City. Man City came behind on the last day from against Brighton. Whenever we were going up against Wolves, they came behind against QPR. They came behind against Aston Villa on the last day. This cannot keep happening. This trend has to break.
Come from behind and all three title.
Why not Sunday?
Your thoughts? I mean, we all assume Arsenal will go again next year, and we expect them to spend money. But is that the one negative, that you don't know how much that'll take its toll physically, having they go toe-to-toe with Man City? Because we seen with Liverpool, they had very not poor seasons, but they fell off the following season. They weren't able to go to the final day again.
I would agree, but I would say the ownership of Arsenal is richer than Liverpool's and more ambitious. So that's why I think I don't think once they've consolidated their position, Arsenal, the Cronkies will back him significantly. And right now, Arsenal have always shown that if there's a top player that is available on the market, Arsenal will pay the big bucks. They will make it happen. So, and I think what Kieran said at the fact that Arsenal right now, let's be honest, barring maybe Real Madrid or Man City, even Man City, I mean, Declan Rice chose to come to Arsenal over
Arsenal
them.
have the London factor too. We know that.
I mean, no, like if I am an agent of a top number 9, I am calling Arsenal every day, and I am saying, my guy can get you 20 goals, and with those 20 goals, just like with City and Haaland, you can the team can go up another level. But the reason why I believe in, and I said this as the reason I think why Liverpool declined in the last few years, and I think it was because the Arsenal structure currently is perfect for Arsenal to continue to evolve. I got worried when Liverpool started firing Michael Edwards, when the other recruitment guy left, and Jurgen Klopp started controlling pretty much every single decision. It reminded me of the latter years of Wenger, where Wenger was the one choosing physios. Wenger was the one choosing the youth team directors. And I think Liverpool made that bad decision in giving Klopp too much power and too much autonomy. Like, for example, I read that Darwin Núñez, although I rate him, was the signing that Klopp wanted, whilst the scouting team really liked Nkunku. So back 3-4 years ago when Michael Edwards was there, I remember that Michael Edwards had to convince Klopp that Mohamed Salah was perfect for Liverpool, and because Klopp wasn't. So I think that dichotomy of the decision making was perfect in the way Liverpool functioned. And I think right now Arsenal were what Liverpool were maybe 3-4 years ago, and the Cronkies are gonna back Arteta big time because they want to win. Like, if you look at all of their other teams in the NFL, wherever, they always spend the most usually.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point, and I sorry to cut you off because I know Cal's we've got about 20 minutes left before we're going to get into these predictions for the final day. But Cal, Steph makes a great point because it takes me to the final point before the predictions this weekend. The other night, Liverpool conceded 3 goals, only 1 clean sheet in the last 16 games. Is there an argument there that Klopp and Liverpool has probably run its course in the fact that if you're going to challenge this Man City and Arsenal team, they probably have to go a different way? That as good as Klopp has been, this idea of having to score 3 and 4 every week, we've seen with Man City and Arsenal, a lot of clean sheets in there. We even seen Pep sacrificing fullbacks. They play 4 centre-backs across the back. Arsenal very similar, as Gary Neville says. Ben White's been converted to right back. Tommy Asu, very strong, physical, defensive. They're very, very good defense. Is there an argument that for Liverpool, they get back the challenge in them 2 over 38 games, they may have to alter it?
Well, first of all, I agree with what Stefan said. I think you got it bang on with why Liverpool had them drop-off seasons. But to your point, I mean, the fact that Klopp's leaving, I think that's kind of no one's even kind of analysing how we're playing at the minute because it's not about that anymore. The title's gone and it's about him leaving now. But I mean, losing that or drawing that game on Monday night, the way we're playing every week, we're just giving away too many chances, too many goals. I mean, you can say it's a Klopp issue, you could say it's a recruitment issue. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I mean, I would still keep Klopp. I mean, he's that good. I mean, if you get the
No,
recruitment,
I know it's a very uncomfortable question because he's a legend, but you kind of feel that maybe it's not as bad as when Wenger left, but maybe it is time for it. Maybe it's the best time for everyone. Maybe Klopp for a change.
There's an argument to be had 100% because of the way we're playing. The stats don't lie. I mean, I know we praised how good the mentality was all year about how many points we got from losing positions and late on and all that there. But I mean, as it has run its course now, and we weren't good enough to win the league. So I mean, that maybe, is it a Klopp thing? Is it a recruitment thing? Like I said, I don't know. You would only really find that out next season if he was there, but you're not going to find it out now.
Lads, takes us into the final day predictions. Mates, we're going to start with you. You can give me your score predictions, some quick thoughts on the games. We'll probably we've got about 15 minutes here before we come off, so we'll probably analyse the bigger games, be more on them, more than there's a lot of dead rubbers on here. Do this in alphabetical order. So it's a big one to start with. Arsenal taking on Everton. Mates, you're saying it's never over till it's over. So I mean, Arsenal have to win, or Man City's game is irrelevant. Arsenal have to win. They force any mistake from Man City. You fancy Arsenal at home to Everton?
100%. Easy home one. Their easiest game of the season, I believe. Everton's already on the beach. Everybody's safe. They're already planning for next year. Arsenal, I think, run out comfortable. Three, maybe 4-0 winners.
Stefan, you think you'll do your own job anyway?
I mean, I would say maybe, but there's no better matchup in the Premier League from what I know. In terms of Arsenal have won the most of any team in the Premier League that has a better record, and that is Everton. So Arsenal has won the most amount of games against Everton in Premier League history. So we have a really good record against them. I don't think they've won at our ground since I think the 80s. So yeah, we should ease. And I agree with Kieran. They have nothing to play for. They're going to be on the beach. So, yeah, I expect us to win easily.
Yeah. Score prediction?
3-0.
3-0. Funny enough, there is no way this title can be decided on goal difference. So, how teams won is irrelevant, of course. Arsenal are already ahead of Man City. So, if Man City were to draw, then obviously then goal difference wouldn't come on it. So, it will only be one on points. Brentford taking on Cal. I'm sorry, Arsenal score prediction.
A comfortable 2-0 Arsenal win.
2-0. I'm going to go the same. 2-0 Arsenal. Very comfortable and dominant. Brentford Newcastle. This is an hour game with something on it. Newcastle have to a win for Newcastle guarantees European football next season. What that looks like, we're not going to be sure. And saying that, a win, if they do what they still need Man City to win next week actually in the FA Cup. Should Chelsea win, but a one gives them a good chance. You fancy Man City in the final next week. So, but it's a difficult one because Brentford away can be tricky, and they'll want to try and sign off. And they've had some form. Vissa and Buemo back from injury have been scoring goals.
100%. I think it's a dodgy one for Newcastle. Their away form was patchy. I think losing to Man United is embarrassing. The way how bad they are. That was a bad loss on Wednesday. I still fancy them just to edge it. There's always goals in the Newcastle games. I'll go for a 2-1 Newcastle.
Stefan, how about you?
Newcastle are tragic away from home, so I'm going to go for a Brentford
win. Get into Europe, do you think Eddie Howe's under pressure?
No, I don't think so. I think this season, just the amount of injuries that they've had, they've been super unlucky. Yeah. But I think I watched them against Man United, and I mean, to lose against Man United, like, Jesus Christ, like, they were terrible defensively. They've been terrible defensively all season, especially away from home. So I'm going to go for a Brentford win, 2-1.
Mates, you?
I'll echo what the boys say. I do think we'll get something out of the game, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Plenty of goals.
And as final days tend to be a lot of goals because a lot of teams have nothing to play for. So Hopefully, I know Meats does a goal rush, so I'm sure he'll have something going. Hopefully, there's loads of goals from him. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. We're going to stick this order. So, Meats, you'll go again here. Brighton against Man United. Of course, United don't want to be relying on having to beat Man City to get into Europe next season. So, it's a must-win game for them. They obviously, if they won, they need a favour from Brentford against Newcastle. Otherwise, they will be relying on beating Man City to get into Europe. So, hard to know with Brighton. They're a funny team, but same United, it's hard to call this game.
It's two complete. Well, one out of form, an out of form Brighton. You know, it's probably the worst season they've had in a few now. Maybe the wee venture in Europe was a wee bit too much for them this season. But Man United, I don't even think I need to say really anything on them. But I'm going to go a 2-0 for Brighton.
Stefan?
I mean, yeah. Brighton, I watched them against Chelsea and they looked kind of spent. Even though if you watch the game, they had the better. I thought Chelsea were a bit lucky to win the game. I thought Brighton had plenty of chances. I don't know. This game, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Brighton.
Can't. Is it a full house for Brighton here?
I can't back Man United. There's no way. But there's the type of team that could go 1-2. But I thought Brighton were alright against Villa a few weeks ago. I was watching when I was over in Liverpool. No, I think De Zerbi will too good for Ten Hag, and I'll go for same as Stefan, 2-1.
Can I just point out? Have you guys noticed their massive downturn in form ever since De Zerbi started getting linked to all of the different jobs?
I think, as you say, they've been spent, but there's all that in the background. Do you know? I disagree with all of you here. I just think United, it's all they play for. Brighton don't, and I think that might push them over the edge. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 United 1, but not with any confidence.
Gareth, please, I want Man United in the Conference League. That would be amazing. Please.
As you already say, because if they won the FA Cup and finish safe, they'll be into the Europa League. That's how it works. So this is a way of Conference League football. Burnley, Nottingham Forest. This is more or less a dead rubber. Forest not mathematically safe, but barring a Luton and Burnley free for all, they are. Burnley and Luton, we've had to be a 12-goal swing in both games, and I think that's about as likely as Arsenal won the league on Sunday, to be honest. So sorry for all on there, Stefan. Sorry, but no, Burnley, Forest. Cam, back with you. Forest will probably want to get the job done, but I think they're safe as houses anyway.
I don't even care. No, they'll probably be bored.
Stefan, how about you?
I think Burnley are, they have a lot of young players. They're gonna have no pressure now. I think they'll play well, and Nottingham Forest are a League 2 side away from home. So I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win for Burnley here.
Probably need to put a 1 in front of that before Luton can get excited, but 2-1 probably won't cut it. Mates, how about you?
I just feel the same. I think Burnley will just maybe try and give their fans something to cheer about, go out with a bang, and it's probably the perfect game for them at home to try and do that and give the fans something to smile about in their last game. So I'll go 2-1 to Burnley as well.
I'll go for a 2-2. Interesting game at Stamford Bridge, but because Chelsea have to want to secure a top 6 finish, which will be enough for Europa League football, providing Man City won the FA Cup. But there's also a scenario, and their fans will love this, that if they can beat Bournemouth and Spurs really lose at Sheffield, they could finish 5th and finish above Spurs after all the turmoil this season. Chelsea have only lost 1 of their last 14 games and won their last 4, so finishing pretty strong. Them Chelsea fans would love it. They finish above Spurs, so they'll be creating some sort of atmosphere there and hoping. I know it's unlikely that Sheffield can beat Spurs, but even for their own self, just to get under the top 6, they'll expect Man City to beat United next week. So Europa League will be a very good season considering where Chelsea were.
Be massive. Poch will be getting a statue outside Stamford Bridge. I think Chelsea have been played really, really well the last month or so. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Just next season, just to see what happens. I think they keep Poch. I think he stays. The owner kind of came out and backed them in an interview maybe a week or so ago. They say that things are starting to work and turn in their favour. It's going to be really interesting. Look, I think Chelsea won the game all day long. I'll go for a 3-1, but another big summer at the bridge, and just God knows what's going to happen next season. But it'll be an interesting watch.
Stefan, Meat says Chelsea are as good as form as anyone. Obviously, are maybe outside of the top two, but they're flying. Probably Chelsea and Palace, so they are two in the league that are playing really well. 4 in a row. That's the most they've won for a couple of years at least before they've won 4 games in a row. Only lost 1 in 14, of course, and that was at Arsenal when they were battered 5-0. But other than that, they've been doing pretty well. I mean, you'd expect them to beat Bournemouth. I know Bournemouth, you've scored like your second team this season, but
I told you, Gareth. I told you.
Well, they did have a shocker at the weekend at home. They Brentford. Chelsea, they're the informed team and they'll fancy themselves. And you never know. We've seen Spurs before; they're capable of anything.
No, that's completely true. And Bournemouth actually have a very good record against Chelsea over the years. I think Chelsea are a little bit imposters with that record that you named. I have watched a number of their games where I think they've been quite fortunate. The Nottingham Forest game.
I watched the Forest game. They were
Forest were the better team and they had the better chance. I just thought in the last 5 minutes, Forest just completely switched off and Chelsea managed to steal it. But I really didn't think Chelsea deserved to win that game. I didn't think they deserved to win the Brighton game either. Brighton had more chances than them. I thought Brighton were the better team over. I know they conceded 2 goals, but I just think it's time now for a game where Chelsea get a little bit of a. Well,
there's a bit of pressure in this game because there's still a chance they might not get here. Because Newcastle could win and finish above them, so that's not out of the. Newcastle's goal difference is better. So if Bournemouth won and a Newcastle won, would send Chelsea into the Conference League. So
I don't. Yeah, the only thing is Bournemouth have nothing to play for, so that's the thing that's getting me. But Chelsea are a young team. Can they deal with pressure? Well, from what I've seen, no, previously before. So. Let's see. I mean, I honestly think Brighton can really. I think the thing that's not being talked about is Chelsea's defense is not good. No matter, even if they have won, they have conceded all. Even some of the games where they didn't lose, like the Brentford 2-2, Chelsea got absolutely battered in that game. I don't know how that game finished.
Score prediction for this game.
I'm gonna go for a 1-1 here.
Ooh.
I don't think they'll win.
No, I think Bournemouth, nothing to play for. They've secured their highest ever finish in the league. And I agree with Stefan. Chelsea's defence is shocking. It's going to be a goal fest. I'm going to go for a 4-2 Chelsea.
4-2 Chelsea. I think Chelsea won. I think Spurs will have to get a draw.
Jackson hat-trick, guys.
I'll go for a 3-1 Chelsea 1. Palace flying. Villa had a party during the week. I would say Palace is probably favourites for this game. Callum?
100%. Most informed team at the minute. Villa will probably still be drunk on Sunday, so easy Palace 1. Nothing more to be said. I'm going to go for 2-0. 2-0
Palace. Stefan?
I'm going to go for Villa are going to be drunk and their defense hasn't been good all season. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 Palace win.
I can see Meats there. He's taking the sheet there. Palace is definitely on the weekend banker.
100%. I agree with Stefan 100%. I agree with Callum. They're on holidays now. They've done their season's a success. They've done everything that they needed to do. It's party mode now. So, 3-0. Easy, Palace.
I'll go 3-1 Palace. Liverpool Wolves Meats. Big day for Jurgen Klopp. Of course, they'll only sign off with a 1. We spoke about it earlier. It's probably the 3 points is he'll want to sign off, but there's going to be more of a show after, I would imagine, pre-match and post-match. But he'll want to sign off with a 1. Do you think he'll beat the Wolves at home?
I think it's almost guaranteed, written on the stars. We will go 1-0 down after 5 minutes, and we will come back and win 4-1.
4-1. Stefan, how about you?
I think they'll definitely concede because they just, Liverpool can't. Just defensively, they've been really poor over the last few months. So, but I just think Liverpool will have too much, and it will be the last, Anfield game with Klopp. There will be tears. It will be emotional. So 3-1, 3-1 Liverpool. I
Callum,
think.
you'll be there.
I think Liverpool easy as well. I think the two worst teams, apart from the obvious ones at the minute, are Wolves and West Ham. So unlucky Stefan and unlucky Wolves. 3-1.
3-1. I'll go the same. I actually think it could be quite laboured second half. I think Liverpool will have the game over with, and everybody just want the party to start, the send off. So I think it could be quite a laboured second half. But I think Liverpool won 3-1. Callum, Luton needs the bash Fulham. I think they probably know it's not going to happen. But suppose they'll try and sign off with a bit of credit. I mean, they've been, not many people would have said they'd have been, even this impossible, very unlikely chance of staying up on the final day. So they've done well to even get this far.
100%. Fair play to them. Fair play to them. They done a good job. They just fell short. But obviously that game's a bit of a dead rubber. I'll go for 2-1. They'll probably end off with a 1, I think.
Stefan?
Fulham have a terrible away record, if I'm not mistaken. Luton are going to be super up for it. It's to be their last game of the Prem. I think the fans will be really on them. I think the players will be, their coach too, will really want to go out in style in a way. So I think Luton wins this. I'm going to go for 2-1.
2-1. Mates?
Yeah, I'll echo the lads there. I just think they're looking to go out with a bang. Like, if you're a Luton fan, you do not know when you're coming back to Premier League. Like, it's just that this could be the last time you're ever on it. In some people's lifetimes. So I think they'll be well up for it. And the manager's been first class. They've been a breath of fresh air to the Premier League. I'll be genuinely sad to see them go. They've been obviously the best team that's come up. So I think they'll win 2-0.
Yeah, I'll go the same. Luton, they won 2-1. And I suppose I'm raging they haven't just got an hour point somewhere and made it interesting, because I think it would have been quite a good atmosphere at Kenilworth Road had they been only 2 points behind. And you never know what happens in the Burnley Forest game, but unfortunately they'll go down. Man City, West Ham, lads, all eyes are going to be on what's happening here. I think even Arsenal fans will be glued to what's happening there. I mean, who knows if it goes away that the Arsenal's not know at half time and Arsenal's 2 or 3 up. You never know. Mates, he says it ain't over till it's over. He says there's a chance they've had to come from behind. They can't keep doing it. Do you see that happening again? West Ham, not much they play for. Moyes is signing off. I mean, I think that they couldn't, if Arsenal could have picked anyone but West Ham.
Probably, but I'm a fantasist. I think I'm going to be sitting on the edge of my seat watching it all unfold.
Will maybe go there and think, you know what, we want to be involved in stopping this, 4 in a row, that they might feel some sense of motivation.
I know you have to remember, Declan Rice has a lot of really, really, really good mids there. He's going to be on the phone. Come on, boys, just give us a chance. No, try at least. Yeah, that's great. He's going to be doing it. But
Darren's saying, will you be in the shanty house watching this on Sunday?
No. Hey, I'm telling you, see whatever I think. Right, this is what I think. Now, somebody needs to explain this to me quickly. I've got the league table in front of me. So if Man City draw 2 each, which I think will happen, and Arsenal win, what's the goal difference? What's the goal difference?
Arsenal win. Arsenal are already ahead by 2 goals. So if Arsenal win at Everton and they draw, Arsenal win the league.
Right, that's my prediction. Arsenal will win the league in goal difference on Sunday.
You're going for a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw, and Arsenal 3-0. Arsenal won the league in goal difference.
Stefan, how about you? Do you share Kieran's expectations there?
I mean, no. Realistically, heart-wise, yes. As an Arsenal fan, I wasn't old enough, but there have been some romantic moments. The 1989 league win at Anfield in the last minute. It was very kind of poetic in a way, but this Man City team, I think even if West Ham did really try, I just don't think they're good enough. But I mean, they are prime. If you look at their forward players, and what Man City really do struggle with is pace and power in the front line on the counter. So Kudus, Bowen, especially
give me your
Bowen.
prediction. I want to hear it. Give me your prediction.
Keep it 5th.
I'm
You have to
keeping
believe.
the faith. I'm gonna
You
go
have to
for
believe.
1-1. I agree
1-1
with the
draw.
guys. I think West Ham are gonna batten down the hatches, and I think they'll score first. I
You know
I
what?
have a sneaky feeling.
You know what? There'll be a lot of Spurs fans that wouldn't mind that, and then Haaland bangs one on the last kick of the game. Hey, there'll be some roaring one side and the front and Callum, how about you? Do you think it could be as tight as the boys say, or some of the boys in the comments here saying 3 or 4-0? So how do you see it?
I think we have to factor in the nerve factor too. They're all human at the end of the day. It's always tight. But as
How
I said,
important do you think it is for Arsenal to bang a few goals in early, and that gets Andy Manchester?
exactly, Arsenal can end up drawing. We nervous, so they don't know what's going on as well. You don't know, like, but I mean, Arsenal, they just need to do their job. Arsenal, that's all you can do. Do your job and then see what happens after the match. But as I say, I mean, Liverpool prediction, I think the two worst teams in the league at the minute are West Ham and Wolves. So I think it's bad news for Arsenal. Honestly, I think Man City won. I'm going to go 2-1. I think they will concede.
2-1. She's all quite tight here, boys, in the comments. See it differently. I'll tell you, I'll give you the stat, lads, before we finish here. The team that has been top on the final day of the Premier League season has never lost the league. So Arsenal, if they were to do it, would also make their own bit of history. They'd be the first team to go on to the final day in second and won it. It's never, ever, ever happened before. It's never even changed hands on the final day, believe it or not, until that time that Ferguson had it, and the Aguero moment. Or not, the team that's top usually wins the league, and I don't think it's going to change this year, unfortunately. I think Man City will probably win 3-0 ago. And finally, that's where we wrap up. Spurs may be under pressure to get a point on
Biggest
Sunday
game of the weekend.
up against Sheffield United, who've been abysmal, conceded 101 goals, Callum. Surely even Spurs couldn't nose this up.
I mean, if there's one club or one team it would be them, to be fair, but nah. I mean, I'll keep it very quick. I'll go for 3-0 Spurs.
No.
Stefan?
No, I told you, you predicted a big win against Burnley. You really struggled. Even though I predicted 2-1. So I honestly don't think you. I know you have a terrible record at Sheffield over the last few years, right? Yeah. So I have a feeling that this game will end in a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1. I don't think you'll win.
Kieran, how about you?
Spurs won't even want to win the match, so I'll go a 1-0 Sheffield United.
And if Chelsea won, we'll finish sixth, actually, if that happens.
No,
we need a
wait, guys, don't worry though, because the Spurs fans at the end of the game, once they see Man City beating West Ham, they're gonna start singing about Arsenal whilst they're actually losing to Sheffield.
Maybe Stefan's right. Maybe Spurs fans won't care too much.
The Spurs fans will be in the pausing in the end.
Would you offer? It'd be interesting to see any Spurs fans that were singing about Man City. Would they rather beat Sheffield and Arsenal won the league, or lose to Sheffield and Man City won the league? I don't know what they pick, and that's brutally honest. But no, I think, Stefan, I know what I'd say a few score lines, but I do think this is a day where Spurs do crack a few in. So I'm going to go with Callum and say it's going to be a 3-0 win. I think Sheffield are absolutely traumatized with this season. I'm not sure what's left in the legs. I think Spurs will take advantage, and they have to put on a performance after Tuesday night. So
who's gonna score? Son is
I think Son will finish.
Son has been a ghost for the last 2 months. He's been terrible.
Bold prediction, Stefan. Him and Son, hat-trick, and Arsenal fans is going to put their 2 feet through the TV as Cargers. They're champions. Boys, it's been brilliant having you on all season long. I know this is probably all your final podcast. I want to thank you for your contribution throughout the year. Me and Owen will be back on Monday to talk you through what's happened in the title race. And that will pretty much be us for the season. We'll be back then on June the 18th. Actually, I'm going on holidays that day. And the fixtures come out that morning. So I'm not going to the airport later on. So I'll be off that morning. So me and Owen's going to be doing the Premier League fixtures. Make sure to join us at 9:15 that morning. The fixtures will be out at 9 o'clock UK time. I know Stephanie will be slightly later. But I want to thank all the viewers for their contribution to this podcast and throughout the season. It's been brilliant. Catch us for one final podcast on Monday before we wrap up for the season. Lads, thanks very much, and see you very soon.
What, doing a Euros one?
All the best.
See ya.
Owen's doing a Euros channel, so you can check. I'm taking the summer off. My voice is sore, I'm telling you. Boys, thanks very much. If you're new around here, make sure to like the channel and subscribe for more content. And we'll see you on Monday.
All the best, boys.
See you guys.
Cheers, lads.
Thank you.